behind you.
This is Dusakar, probably the most underused support survivor in Forsaken. It has 90 HP, but this survivor is actually really good, but most people who tried Dusekkar don't know how to actually properly use it, so they switch to an easier to use support like Builderman. Both Builderman and Dusekkar are capable of slowing down killers, but the difference is that Builderman plays more passively with his sentry doing all the dirty work. Meanwhile, Dusekkar plays an active role in slowing down killers. Players have to point his plasma beam at the killer, but the range is limited, so you may have to get close but not too close to the killer. But before I explain those parts further, you should definitely subscribe to me for more Forsaken content, and perhaps like the video too if you watch the whole video. Also, I have a Discord server for my community, so go ahead and join. Now let's talk about Dusekkar kits in details. Dusekkar has a passive ability where his footsteps don't make any noise. Not many people actually utilize this mechanic when they play Dusekkar, even though this is a game changer when it comes to juking and looping killer. By not having any footstep noise, you can hide from killer much more easily if they don't have their aura revealing ability up. This ability basically counters cool kid who have the worst ability to track survivor. A good killer will use footstep as a sound cue to know where you are going. For example, there's a survivor behind this wall, and I don't hear any footsteps, therefore the survivor is still hiding around this wall, so I'll use an ability that goes through the wall. Now if the survivor is moving, you can hear where they go. Are they trying to juke me by going left or going right? This is a really good killer technique, which is why you need to find a way to cover your tracks to confuse the killers. There is actually a way for survivor to silence their footstep if they don't use Dusekkar. They simply spam the sprint key. This can easily trick the killer to waste their ability. You can also conserve stamina by spamming the movement keys, which also conceals your footstep. As long as you're not holding movement keys for more than half a second, you should not make any noise. Dusekkar doesn't need to do any of this. They just run or walk and the killer will absolutely be clueless. But now let's take a look at his active ability, and there's only two, so the survivor is pretty simple. It has Spawn Protection, which is a spell that Dusekkar casts towards other survivor to give them a shield which grants resistance 4, which means they will only take 20% of raw damage. You must position your cursor at the survivor you're protecting, so you can end the spell early by moving your cursor away. Spawn Protection has a cooldown of 30 seconds, and you can't spawn protect survivor who has already been spawn protected by another Dusekkar for 30 seconds. Just remember that you should not waste this ability on survivor with a really low HP, because resistance 4 doesn't nullify 100% of the damage. This is really great when it comes to helping your teammates who is being chased by the killer. However, you must use this ability really wisely. If you use it when the killer is literally right in front of you, yeah, that's not gonna end really well. If the survivor is not even close to the pursuing killer, then there's no reason to cast Spawn Protection now. You do it when the survivor is getting low on stamina and the killer is really close. Using Spawn Protection helps your teammate regenerate stamina to get away from the killer. Do be aware that Spawn Protection only lasts for 3.5 seconds, so you're only meant to use this if the killer can land a guaranteed hit on the survivor. Spawn Protection needs a clear line of sight for it to work. But here's the thing, the spell will break after 2 seconds of line of sight being broken. So you don't actually need to worry about Spawn Protection being blocked by a wall, since you only need 1.5 seconds of line of sight for its full potential. Spawn Protection has a range of 95 studs, so you have to protect survivor in a medium distance. You are slowed by 25% while you're using Spawn Protection, so you must be in a good position to prevent yourself getting sniped by the killer. Spawn Protection cannot be used when survivor is anchored by the killer. For example, Gashing Wound and Void Rush Slam. Same goes for any kill animation. Also, funny things will happen when 3 Dusekkar uses Spawn Protection all at the same time. The shield breaks immediately and every Dusekkar gets inflicted with Slowness 3 and Blindness 3 for 6 seconds. So yeah, don't do that silly. Plasma Beam. This is the ability you should frequently use. It really throws the killer out of their rhythm when you successfully snipe the killer with it. Dusekkar spins his staff for 2 seconds and then shoots out a beam towards wherever your cursor is pointing at, and it has a cooldown of 30 seconds. Aiming this at a killer will inflict them with slowness 2 for 3 seconds, forcing them to walk to not waste any stamina. However, aiming this at a survivor will instead inflict them with speed 1 for 4 seconds and 20 over health, which allows them to take 20 raw damage from the killer. Plasma beam only has a range of 75 studs, meaning you can't snipe the killer from far away. However, it can go through walls, so you can use it to catch killer off guard around the corner. While casting Plasma Beam, you will be slowed by 25%, so if you wanna use this in a chase, make sure you have enough stamina to run for 2 seconds as well. You could bait the killer in hard to dodge places like on the stairs on Glass House, where you can scare the killer from going up or risk getting slowed down. Make sure you maintain distance from the killer before you use this ability. You don't want to get hit the moment you slow the killer. Plasma Beam works for helping other survivor too. You can use Plasma Beam to help survivor make killer lose chase. You can do this by speeding them up and giving them overhealth. But Plasma Beam can in fact hit both survivor and killer at the same time, which gives a much higher chance for the killer to lose chase with the survivor they're pursuing. However, it can only hit one survivor and one killer at a time, so you can't boost two survivors. The best part about Plasma Beam is that you can use this basically anytime you see a killer chasing a survivor, unlike Spawn Protection where you only do it when you see a survivor running out of stamina. With all that said, it all comes to whether you can aim properly or not with Dusekkar. Unlike Dusakar, support like Builderman cannot help themselves if they're being chased. Let's say you're being chased as Builderman. You want to bait the killer towards your sentry to stop them in their tracks. But after the killer kills the sentry, if they're still trying to chase you down, then you're completely defenseless and your only option is to run. But Dusakar, however, can use Plasma Beam to slow down the killer during chases. And if you don't miss, you will easily get the upper hand because now the killer is forced to walk, otherwise they will run out of stamina more easily when they try to run. If the killer does try to dodge your Plasma Beam, it's not a big deal. In fact, you actually still create more distance when they do that because killer can only dodge by going left or right, which means they have to run a bit more to get to you. The problem is if the killer tries to take the shortest route to you but you miss your Plasma Beam, that's where it becomes a problem. Again, make sure that when you Plasma Beam the killer, you don't get hit in the process, which requires you to maintain distance first before shooting Plasma Beam. This is why Dusakar is the best support survivor when it comes to self-sustainability. No other support can help themselves mid-chase, except for Elliot with Rush Hour. Going against Dusekkar who always hits their shot will be your second worst nightmare as a killer, behind 2-time who can hit a consistent trick stab. I know a lot of players are probably like mobile players, which makes it impossible for them to even aim Dusekkar Plasma Beam. And I understand, but this doesn't make Dusekkar a bad support. People simply want an easier to use support to accommodate their device. But Dusekkar is absolutely helpful for the survivor and annoying for the killer if you have a proper aim. If you prefer a more active role as support, then Dusekkar is your top pick. Alright, so to sum everything I have said, Dusekkar is an amazing support survivor that not many people know how to use correctly, so they underestimate his potential. Dusekkar prevents killer from figuring out Dusakkar's location if they lose line of sight of him with how he doesn't make any footstep noise. Dusekkar can save survivors that are at a disadvantage with spawn protection when being chased by the killer to waste even more time. Dusekkar can help himself and other survivors during chases using his Plasma Beam. It wasn't always like this though. Dusekkar before Noli update was way worse because Plasma Beam and Spawn Protection slows Dusekkar heavily, which makes them easy targets with range attack. This makes Dusekkar only viable far away, otherwise you're dead. So thanks to the developer for these balance changes, Dusekkar can actually self-sustain during chases like Elliot. But what do you think about Dusekkar? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching this video. I'm pretty close to 30k subscribers, so let's hit that goal this month. Also, I have a Discord server for my community, so you might wanna join that with the link in the description. If you enjoyed this whole video, please leave a like and also don't forget to subscribe with the notification turned on to not miss any of my new videos. And as always, goodbye!